Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. My name is Tamra, aka Mrs. Thinker, and in today's video we'll be looking at equalities and inequalities. So let's go.
Hey you over there, I see you struggling with the numbers, but don't have no fear, cause I'm right here. We're gonna go and learn together, there's no need to despair. Math cool like breeze, you're gonna learn it with ease, so leave your concerns because it's time to learn.
Now, in math, we can express numbers in the form of statements that show the relationship between these numbers. These statements are known as equations. The greater than, less than, equal to, and not equal to are examples of symbols that we use to tell the relationship between two numbers or expressions. Now let's get into it by looking at some statements that involve these symbols. First, let's consider two numbers, 3 and 5. Using an example of people, a group of 5 people is bigger than a group of 3 people. So we say that 5 is greater than 3. And this is the greater than symbol. Now, we can also say that 3 is less than 5. And this is how we write it, with the less than symbol. Now, if you've learned this topic before, or you're just learning it for the first time, a lot of people can get confused between which is the greater than and less than. And guys, I'm not telling you no lies, when I was in school I used to have the hardest time telling the difference. So I'm going to share with you the tip that changed my life. Okay, my mom actually shared this with me, so I'm gonna pass it on to you and I'm gonna tell you the story behind it, right? Well, actually, it was a long time ago, so I'm not exactly sure that this is how that story actually went. But that's how I remember it. So I am at home and I said to my mom, like, I just cannot tell which is the greater than and the less than sign. I'm getting so confused because I'm learning it like the right hand say less than, the left hand say great. Like, I don't know my left from right. I just don't know. I'm so confused. And she literally turns to me and she says, Tamra, listen to me and listen to me good. There is no difference between the less than and greater than sign. They're actually the same exact symbol, just turned a different way. Now, whenever you have two numbers, the bigger part of the symbol, that is the open part of the symbol, always faces the bigger number. And the smaller part of the symbol, that's the little pointy end, always faces the smaller number. So it really doesn't matter how you write it, because that is always going to be true. The bigger part of the symbol always faces the bigger number, and the smaller part always faces the smaller number. So guys, you can use that tip moving forward, and you can just thank me in the comments, because I know that it's going to help some of you guys moving forward to be able to tell which one is which. All right, now how about the equal sign? When two numbers or expressions are the exact same, we use the equal sign. For example, 10 is equal to 10. Now you might be saying, like, duh, that is like the most obvious thing ever. How could 10 not be equal? Like, 10 has to be equal to 10, right? But I feel like sometimes we don't recognize the power of the equal sign. Take algebra, for example. Whenever we throw unknown numbers in an equation, it's the presence of the equal sign that tells us that there is only one answer for the unknown number. Just like how it's obvious that 10 is equal to 10, we know that there can only be one number that can solve this question. Why? Because we see the equal sign. Alright, so there are a few other inequality symbols, such as the less than or equal to symbol and the greater than or equal to symbol. Now, both of these are a combination of the less than or greater than and the equal sign, and they hold true if either of those two are true. A question might ask, is 2 less than or equal to 3? Now, 2 might not be equal to 3, but 2 is less than 3, so that statement is true, that 2 is actually less than or equal to 3. How about, is 17 greater than or equal to 20? Now, using my tip earlier, the bigger part of the sign is facing 17, which should mean that 17 should be the bigger number, but it's not. So we know that the sign is incorrect because 17 is actually less than 20. 17 is also not equal to 20. Therefore, that whole statement is wrong because both of those are false. 17 is not greater than 20 and 17 is not equal to 20. Now here's the last one. Is 5 less than or equal to 5? Now 5 is equal to 5, so one of the statement holds true, which means that the entire statement is true. It also works the other way around. 5 is also greater than or equal to 5. Now before we go, I want to introduce you guys to another symbol, and it's this one right here. And this means approximately equal to or almost equal to. And it's used when both sides are very close to each other but not exactly equal. A very good example would be when we're rounding off numbers. We can say, for example, that 5.02 is approximately equal to 5 because 5.02 rounded off to the nearest one is 5. Another example is one that I use quite often, and that is pi. Now, as a fraction, pi is equal to 22 over 7. Like, that's the exact fraction for pi. But as a decimal, pi has an infinitely amount of decimals. So when we round off pi to 3.14, we say that pi is approximately equal to 3.14. That's because we're writing it to just 2 decimal places, so it's not exact, and therefore we would use the approximately equal to sign. Now, the approximately equal to sign is not used in basic math. I doubt that you guys will see this sign unless you are more advanced in math. But I felt it was important to mention it too because, there's so many topics similar to this where you learn it one way. Like if you're in school right now, I'm sure when you're rounding off numbers, you still use the equal sign, which is fine. But then no, when you get to high school, they introduce this approximately equal to, and you're like, okay, but like, where was that before? So I'm just giving you guys this as a point of knowledge, right? You can still use the equal to sign if your teacher has not mentioned this, but just know and keep it at the back of your mind that there is something out there for when the numbers are not exactly equal. We actually use the approximately equal to sign. Okay, and that's it for today's lesson. Now the recap is coming up, so let's go. Both equality and inequality symbols are used to show the relationship between two numbers or two expressions in math. The most commonly used signs are the equal sign, the lesser than and greater than sign, and as I mentioned before, you can easily tell them apart because the bigger part of the symbol always faces the bigger number. And finally, we can also use the approximately equal to sign when both sides of the equation are almost equal but not exactly equal. And that's it. Remember to like this video if you enjoyed it, comment below if you learned something new, and finally, be a friend and tell a friend. Remember, we're all in this together because math is life.